Recording in progress. Good morning, good afternoon, rather. Good evening, good almost evening. It's almost evening in Florida, right? When is it usually considered evening? Everybody has a different answer.
5
Good,
to 6
I'll
o'clock.
say good afternoon and good almost evening, everybody. I'm going to start off. I'm going to warm up by playing a fun number here, a couple numbers for you. Oh, let's start off with just a good old simple classic here. Good old Frank and the Count. Here we go. Hang on to your computer screen. Crowd roars. Thank you very much, everybody. Well, this is, we called it the EY series product features class, but I'm going to teach the class a little bit different than we normally do. And what I mean by that is a lot of times what we'll do is we'll pick 2 or 3 features on a model and we'll spend a lot of time going into some of the nitty gritties of it. And we can really literally do an entire class like that. But today I'm going to do something a little bit different. Is since I have 2 different EY models now, what I'm going to do is play hopefully lots of music, and I'm going to highlight lots of features that both of the models have. So EY series is considered Fanfare, which is the EY 300, Journey, which is the EY 320, Inspire, which is the EY 400, and the Rialto, which is, I don't know what the exact model numbers. I think it's just EY 400, and then it's not really R. You would think it is, but it's something else. EY 400 plus or something like that, because it's got a lot of extra goodies in it. And what I'm going to do is just kind of highlight some of the one. This you're going to want to write this down. Now, if you know some of these features, great. Hopefully, you get one feature that you'll have a need to contact your personal assistant and say, "Tell me more about this feature." I'm going to open up with a feature that many of you hopefully should be familiar with, and I used it in the opening song. So when you power up the organ, all of the Lowrey models, especially in the EY series, from the initial power up setting, you have here, if you could see it from that angle there, maybe not, there are 8 buttons, okay? On the Rialto, there's 10. And when you just turn on the instrument, if you don't do anything, you get what's called general setups. Now, those setups, and I'm not going to go through all of them, I'll just name a few. But what that means is when you push one, you get a sound that's perfect. It's like having a recipe and then a chef cooking it for you immediately and serving it to you instantly. Wouldn't that be great? And so as you use the presets here, it says piano and orchestra, Spanish guitar, rich Lowrey organ sound, strings, choir, jazz organ, electric guitar, and fanfare or and French horn. Now, if I use those setups and I do not use what's called the style setup, which I'll mention in a minute, any rhythm that I push on the organ, if I use those 8 buttons, the sounds will always be the same 8 sounds that I told you. However, what you're probably familiar with is the style setup, okay? Style setup, what it does is it sets up those presets, okay? Every time you select a different style. So essentially when I had Frank and the Count on, and I'll just play a few of them, style setup was lit up. On the top keyboard, you heard the trombone. You heard a piano. And as I was going through the numbers here, vibes, organ, strings, saxophones, sax section, full band, etc. Okay? Now, once you select another style, the beauty is if you use the same 8 buttons, the sounds will change again. So let me just go to our next category of style of music here. Country. Country and big band are quite a bit different in the music and the instruments that are commonly used with it. So I'm just going to pick a country style here, and here's one. It's called Rinky Tink. All right? And I found it on Country Pianist. So I'll play a little bit, and then I'll just use some of the same numbers again, and then listen how different the sounds are. Here we go. Do I hear yeehaw from somebody?
Yeehaw!
Thank you. Every time I hear that, I feel like getting a big pint of beer and sloshing around. Not drinking it, just sloshing around. I don't drink beer, folks. Hey, sloshing around and splashing it all over the place. Now here we go, number 1. 2. 3. 4. All the sounds are different. 'And another yeehaw.
Oh, I lost you. Oh dear, what happened?
And another yeehaw, everybody.
Oh, yeah. I lost the video.
You lost the video? Could you hear me?
I hear you, but I don't know
Well,
what.
then let me hear a yeehaw at least.
Yeehaw!
There you go. Now your video might start working soon.
All right, I gotta go out and come back in again, I think.
All right. Well, Joni will let you back in, right, Joni?
Right.
Joni's nice like that. Okay, so, and moving on. So we have the setups that are always changing based on the styles. Now let's talk about styles for a little bit, all right? Now, hopefully I'm saying some things to some of you that you're like, oh, I kind of know that already. Well, that's good. Over here on your left side, you have, in this case here, there are 1, 2, 3, 6, there's 12 categories of styles of music. Now here's how this works. Now I know some of you have fanfares. I know some of you have inspires. We have Rialtos. Okay, let me just give you a quick snapshot of what you have here. So here you have 6 categories, and then there's a full band pianist and guitarist. So that means there's 3 for every one of those categories. So that's 12 times 3 is 36. And then there's a group 2. And group 2 basically turns that 36 into another 36 styles. So that's 72, if I did the math right. For you journey owners, when you select a category, that doubles. So you get 144 styles. And what's really cool about that, I know some of you I've met over time went from a fanfare to a journey. The panel is set up the exact same way. There aren't any extra buttons, but when you look on the screen, it gives you more per button. So you have 144 styles. Now, why is that important to know? First of all, no one is going to use all 144 or 72. And then when you go into the Inspire, believe it or not, and Rialto, it goes up to 200 and 86 styles. And then the Rialto is, I think, another 22 styles on top of that. So that's over 300, a lot of rhythm styles. We'll never use all of the styles, but the more choices you have, the more choices that you have for your songs, so you can make them sound better. You're not stuck using the same categories. So for example, I started off with the standards. I did country category. I'll push the Broadway one. And what I'm going to do is just name some of the ones that I see. So in the Broadway, the full band, it says opener. A lot of people familiar with that. That's a big show tunes kind of a Broadway. The pianist says awesome piano. And then the train, a lot of you are familiar. If I push group 2, it says the East Coast Swing, New York Swing on the full band. The pianist says soliloquy, and the guitarist has East Coast Swing Jive. Now, if I had the Journey here, that list would come up and be doubled, so you would have more styles to choose from. So I'm going to go to Broadway full band as an example, because that intrigues me, and it just says New York Swing, and here we go. Gotta feel like kicking my feet. I don't know if I could do this and play at the same time, folks, so here we go. Please hold the applause, hold the applause. No, go ahead, give me applause. That's good. So, well, the beauty of that is I would encourage everyone to go to each of the categories, hit pianist, full band, and guitarist, and then hit group 2 and hit those 3 buttons again. And you might be surprised that you'll find a style that you didn't know existed and be fun to use. Now, another fun feature that should be used, now I wouldn't say all the time, but probably more than what we do. All right, now, and it's called fake it. Now, what I like to do is take a style. Oh, let's see here. Let me just go through some of these here and find one that might be fun to do it with. Oh, here we go. Where is it? There it is. The train. Okay, so some of you are familiar with the train. Now, with the train style, it's a really fast bluegrass, right? It's pretty fast for some people. And we play the song. And a lot of times what some of the artists will do is they'll do a fiddle solo. Now, there's 2 ways to do it. The simple way and the simpler way, or the hard way. I like the simple or simpler way. Now, the simple way is what you do is you take maybe the first way to try it out if you're not used to doing that is you take 3 chords, and the most common that a lot of people use is the C, the F, and the G. Okay? Or sometimes, in this case, you can take the chord of the song. All right, so a C chord would be G, C, E, or C, E, G. Okay, those 3 notes. F chord is F, A, C. And then G chord would be G, B, D. And just take those chords and break up the notes. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to take a C chord, and the notes that I'm going to play on the top keyboard are E, G, C. All right, like this. And then I'm going to just rotate those 3 notes as fast as I can. So it's going to be something like, all right. When I get to an F chord, I'm going to play FAC. If I do a G chord, it'll be GBD. And back. All right. And the trick is to try to play as fast as you can to keep on the beat. So something like this. G, C, F, G, G. And if you work on that, you might get that down pretty well after 3 times. That's all it takes. Or if you put on the fake it button, just find 2 notes that you can pedal. I think Don calls it noodling, or some of you guys call it noodling. When you tell your students, and you noodle your fingers around, and you do the same chords, but just noodle. G, C, F, C, G, and it doesn't matter what chord you play, it'll automatically put in the right notes in there. So what do you think of that? You're all going to start noodling now? Now, I know what you're thinking, because I know some of you have, I can see, I know some of you actually have the marquee, Grand Marquee. There's a Liberty owner there. There's an Inspire and a Rialto owner. Okay, so for you, let's see if I could do this without knocking over Sean's stuff here. Can you see that? Or do I have to angle this down a little bit? All right. Here we go. Is that a good angle?
Yes.
Can I make it a little bit better? Let's see. All right. He's got everything backwards. So if I move the camera one way, it looks like it's going the other. If I use the scroll, it's going the opposite direction. So it's really goofing with me. All right, what is it? The train, right? Let's put on the train. Okay, so this is fun. So what I'm going to do now, I said you can noodle, right? Well, in here, see if you can catch what I'm doing. Let me play it first, just to warm up a little bit, and then I'll turn the fake it on, and I'll let you know when it's happening. So let's see here. All right. All right, fake it's there. I'm not going to turn it on yet. All right, here we go. Fake it. You ready? Watch my fingers. Boy, it's really a lot of work holding down one note, I tell you. So, Owen, you have the marquee, don't you? Owen, you have the marquee? Yes? Oh, you're muted. Oh, it says it right on your screen. Yes. So that's how it works. That's how it works on yours as well. So I hope you're making notes of this, because we're going to quiz you. If you get the answers wrong, we take your organ away from you. Make sure you put the right finger up. Otherwise, you might make some people mad. All right, so moving on to some other great features that a lot of these series have. So one of the things I love is, again, styles in music. Finding styles in music is sometimes the best way to be inspired by the hobby and and the joy of making music, because sometimes styles of music aren't just giving you a different style of music, but the setups change constantly and you get some really great sound. So for example, I love some of these styles on here. Let's play. Ooh, that one's nice. That one's nice. I don't have enough time to play all of these. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'll just pick one. And all right, here we go. So this is a song. I might need some music for this. Okay, Sean is getting me music so I don't make a mistake on this song. This style you're going to hear is song, is actually introduced on the marquee, Owen. And some people don't know this about this style. iPad? My iPad on my bag? No, I need F. He got the wrong key for me, so he's got to get the one that I know it in. He had key of G, I know it in F. So this will give me just a minute to tell the story until he gets it for me the correct way. I also have it on my iPad, which is in my backpack. So anyway, this style came out originally on the marquee, and it was a style called downtown rock. Now, most people probably know, oh, I wonder if that's designed for the song Downtown. And yes, it is, okay? But what happened over the years as technology, computer technology from the 80s all the way up until, you know, the latest models, they were improving not just in what it can do and all that, but the memory and how many computers, and the more memory, the more it can do and faster and so forth. So if you listen to styles of music on an organ created back in the 90s and you just let it play for a little while, or if you use the fill-in, you would notice something about it. The background starts doing what's called a loop. It plays so many measures and then it loops. It sounds the same over and over. Now, it's not terrible when you're playing a melody, but if you just sat and listened to it, you'd say to yourself, oh, I can hear that looping. It's starting to repeat itself. Or if you do a fill-in, for example, and you hold the fill-in, some of the original styles years ago, if you held the fill-in, it would loop or instantly. So as a quick example, here's a style that came out back in the late 80s. Now watch what happens when I hold the fill-in down. Now if you listen to it, you can hear it kind of, it's very repetitive, right? Now here's the fill-in. I mean, it's not something you would hold after 2 measures, right? What Lowrey did on that marquee, gosh, boy, they really did some really cool things, is they took all these new styles and they wanted to make sure that if someone was playing the song that was designed for, and I can play other songs with it, but if I play this particular song, they wanted to make sure the student had the opportunity to hear it like the arrangement it was when it was recorded. So here's how it works. Pretty cool. I'm going to play the song from beginning to end, just as I see it. And when I get to right here in the song, in fact, I'm going to put a little notation for myself. When I get to that point, I'll use my foot switch and I'm going to activate the fill-in, and I'm not going to let go. I'm going to hold the fill-in down all the way through to the very end. Now you'd say, gosh, Robert, why would you want to hold a fill-in down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16 measures. You'd think it'd get repetitive, but what's built into some of those fill-ins is not just a fill-in, but a whole nother arrangement that fits certain songs. It won't even sound like a fill-in. The band slows down just like the original. It does all the things just like the original recording was. So enough talking. Listen to it. Now you won't be able to see it. I might say, here comes the fill-in. I'm going to activate it with my foot and just listen to the background as I continue playing the song. It's almost like well, it's not almost, it is perfect for that song. Here we go. Let me start. Are you ever hit a wrong note that you didn't like? One more time. We'll cut that out. Clip that out. Edit. Take 2. Here it comes. I'm still holding them. I haven't let go. Just sounds like now I'll let go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please hold the applause. Woo! So it's pretty cool, huh? So there's a lot of, when you get into those kind of classifications, it's always good to test it out by holding the fill-in down, and you'll see if you happen to have a style that does that. Obviously, when you get into some of the Inspires and Rialtos, they offer more of those. What was significant about the Rialto, for those of you who have the Rialto, is that they actually put on 20 styles that they pulled from a combination of the Liberty and the Marquis, and they put it on here in just a smaller case. So they had a lot of fun with it. Now, let's have some more fun with some of the other cool things that are happening here. Now, I'm going to play a song that I absolutely love. Well, actually, every song I'm playing, I absolutely love. I probably wouldn't play one I wouldn't love, right? But this is a style. When I first saw this, I thought, wow, they must have put this on here for me. I know they didn't, but it just made me feel good thinking that way. Because over the years, a lot of us have a group of songs that a lot of students will know. They'll go, he's probably going to play that one. She's probably going to play that one and that one and that one. And then occasionally we have some new songs that we add to the mix. But one of the songs that I've loved playing over the years always was a song called Somewhere Out There. It's a beautiful ballad. Came out in the early 80s from an animated movie, a Steven Spielberg production. I think it's called, what is it called? It's about Feifel, a little mouse.
Right.
An American Tale. So if you have grandkids that love watching little animated movies and things like that, it's a great movie to watch. Anyway, and this is the theme song from that movie. And I've always was trying to find a good rhythm, and I came pretty close to it. But when they introduced this style, I thought, oh, finally, a style that's perfect for it. And it was pretty easy to find. Here's what they called the style. The song is called Somewhere Out There. The style is called Out There Ballad. So you kind of had an idea. But partway through the song, I'm going to have a little fun, and I'm going to play this little doodad here. It's called a virtuoso. And I call it a doodad sometimes, but the official title is virtuoso. So partway through, I like to get some fancy. Now, I don't encourage people to try to use this all the time. It's great to use frequently, but not every other measure or anything. You would never play the song. So listen for it. And what's great is it's foolproof. It'll never hit a wrong note because it takes the chord you're playing and it puts in the correct notes in there for you. So listen to this. Beautifully orchestrated setup here. And here we go. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Now, I don't know if you noticed, but while I was playing, not only did I use the virtuoso, but I reached up. Okay. I reached up and I pushed a couple of buttons there. So a lot of times people are, what are you doing? And you're pushing all that. We like to. Well, it's two buttons that you can use anytime, and it's never going to be a bad thing. It just will be different. You may like one choice more than the other, but it's not going to put you in a position where it's going to ruin the song. So I had the urge to try it out while I was playing. I was like, oh, I wonder what it'll do if I push this, and I wonder if it'll do if I push this. Here are the two buttons. You're going to want to write this down. One of them is called drum variation, and one of them is called alter style. Now, Owen, you have those on the marquee, don't you? I bet you do. This one has it too, because they took it from the marquee and they said, well, we need to put it on here too. Well, and here's what it does. Depending on the style, it can be totally different and drastic in some cases, sometimes it's subtle. When I use that style, okay, this is what it sounded like in its normal, just letting it play. Okay, that's the beat. When I reached up partway through the song, I touched drum variation. I was just curious to see what would happen, and this is what happens. It was very subtle, but enough to just make the feeling of the song change. Here are the drums change. So it really kind of gave the song a totally different change in the arrangement. So I was going. Watch, drum variation. That was it. I pushed one button and the drummer changed, and that was enough to change the way, the feeling of the song and give it that slowly build up. And then I said, and then I took a big chance. I said, what would happen if I did the altar style with that? Now listen, the altar style on this one does something really interesting. The drummer just holds. And I thought, well, that's perfect for that spot, because then it's like, okay, it's building, it's building, it's building. Now watch. Altar style. And you almost don't have to worry about the beat. Play however you want to play. You drag it out. Hold the beat, hold it long, take your time, forget counting, and then just go to another preset and then it goes back into its normal state. So 2 buttons that magically transform your music. You don't play any different, but it sounds different. Now, I'll give you an example. And it's different for every rhythm style, too. It's not going to be the same way. Now, remember early... What's that?
Tomorrow we're not going to do that. Tomorrow we're going to...
You're going to do that tomorrow? I didn't catch what you said. Okay, so here's an example. Remember I played a little bit of New York, New York over here? Say yes. Say that you remembered me playing it over here a few minutes ago. Okay, so I'm going to put on New York Swing again. Here's New York, New York, okay? And here's how it normally sounds. And it's great, and you can play the whole entire song like that. And I went to a big sound. But will it work if I just keep it like that? Yes. Will it sound bad? No. It'll sound good, but the dynamics doesn't change. Now watch what happens as I play the song. I'll play it through. See if I can remember how to play this all the way through. Maybe I'll abbreviate it because I don't remember the whole song without the music. But listen to the difference. So let me start from the beginning. Now put on drum variation and listen. If I really want to finish it big, put on altar style and watch what happens. Oh, got it. That cool? So I hope you're learning stuff and taking some notes on this. I was just thinking here between the 2 models, I could spend 4 or 5 hours and I still wouldn't be able to show you all the goodies that these instruments have. So hopefully I'm touching on things that might inspire. And some of these are just real simple, basic things. This just in. This just in. All right. Okay, where was I? Okay. Now, so we're going to have a little fun with this next thing here, because this is something that you probably use all the time. All right. Maybe you don't. Maybe you do. Maybe you'll use it a little bit differently. All right, and it's a feature called Golden Harp. Now, Owen, you're chuckling there. Do you use Golden Harp a lot? Yeah, it's a great. There's a couple of fun tricks you can do with this. Now, obviously, when you're using a rhythm, this is very important. Make note. When you're using a rhythm, any style of music, and you're using a tempo that works for you, the Golden Harp will work perfectly with that tempo. Okay, so here's and a lot of times it's commonly used with moderately slower styles. Now there are some faster rhythms that it will work. You got to kind of experiment a little bit. But if you put a rhythm style that's too fast and you put on the Golden Harp and just go, it almost is counterproductive. It takes away from the purpose of the Golden Harp, which is making it more beautiful. But for the most part, if I was, you know what, I haven't done any Latin music. And I'll put on a, let's see what we got here. Oh, Trios Romanticos. I don't know what this is, but I've seen it on the organs many times and I never play it. So I'll see what happens when I put on the introduction. Here we go. Oh, essentially you could play any great Latin piece with this, right? So you can play Spanish Eyes. You can play Begin to Begin. Just whatever Latin song you want to put, it doesn't matter. Play whatever song you want. You can do a jazz tune. Doesn't matter. Pick the song. Now watch what happens when I put Golden Harp on. Okay, now some of you have what, a Golden Harp, some of you have 2, some of you have 3, some of you have 4. I know, Owen, you have 8. Don't rub it in. But guess what, Owen? I have 8 on the Rialto too. All right, so it says up and down, up only, down only, virtuoso, which is like the 3 combined in a sense. And then it has skip pattern, step pattern, guitar pattern, banjo pattern. Not guitar sound or banjo sound, guitar pattern. And so when you hear the word guitar pattern and banjo pattern, it means the Golden Harp will play the notes like a guitar player would play the guitar, the notes, not the sound necessarily, okay? And same thing with banjo. And some of them you're going to hear, let's see, this is just a classic up and down. You hear it going up and down? Here's up only. Okay, down only. Virtuoso. That works. I don't know if it'll work or not, but I wouldn't do that virtuoso Golden Harp with a razzmatazz rhythm at 200. It might be a little bit too much, but you never know. But anyway, it works here. Skip pattern. Here's guitar pattern. Step pattern. Banjo pattern. Okay, so they're all great. So the point is just choose one and start playing. Now the tempo I'm playing at is at 100. And it works. Let me put on the Golden Harp again. Let's do skip pattern. So that works very nicely with that. And you'll find a lot of rhythms that it would work very nicely. Now, I may not play an entire song with Golden Harp. What I might do sometimes is put on a rhythm, play it one time through without the Golden Harp, and then maybe on the repeat, put on Golden Harp. And then sometimes that one change is enough to make the difference in the song. The minute you do something like that, you're automatically considered an arranger, and a good one at that. Sometimes best arrangement practices don't have to do with just changing the sound, but sometimes it has to do with changing things like golden harps, drum variations, and the altar styles if you have them. Okay. Now let's go back to the golden harp for a second. I'm going to turn off the rhythm. And I'm going to just do a classic button here called easy button. Okay. So you got your, and let's see, let's put on some strings. Okay. Now listen to the golden harp. And the tempo is 100. Now keep in mind, I'm not using a rhythm right now. Okay. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll play a part of a song or the beginning or something like that, and I'll play without a rhythm, and I'll use a golden harp, but I'll put the tempo up to maybe 150 or 160 or 170. In other words, much faster than what I play the song. Now, this is what you got to remember. You don't have to play the song at 150 or 160 or 170. You can still play the song very slow. The golden harp will do its thing. Now, here's an example. Right now, I have no rhythm on, and I'll play a classic like Over the Rainbow. And I'll play Over the Rainbow how I think I would play it, how fast or slow I would play it. Even though it says 100, I'm playing the song how I would just play the melody. Now listen, here's with the golden harp. I'll actually do it without the harp first. That's about right speed. Now watch what happens when I throw in the golden harp. Sounds pretty good, right? Now watch this. Virtuoso. Let's see what happens when I do that. Okay, so far so good, right? Now, let's put it to the test to see if it'll sound good. Right now it says 100. As I'm playing it, I'm going to continue playing the song at the speed that works for me. Okay? But I'm going to increase the tempo anyway, but my fingers are going to still play at the same tempo, speed for me. Ready? Here we go. I'm going to increase it to, let's see here. It's at 160. Woo! That would be fast, right? You can hear it, but I'm going to play the melody slow. I played it slow. I increased the tempo without a rhythm, put on the golden harp. And what's great is if you have 8 of those golden harp patterns, I would try those virtuoso ones and the step and the skip patterns because they do some really creative things in the harp pattern that we could never do with our fingers and play the song at the exact same time. A couple more things that I want to make mention. A lot of the organs have Fanfare, Journey, Inspire, Rialto, and that is going back to the setups. You know, we said we had 8 or 10 depending on your model, and that's 8 or 10 or 11 actually for every rhythm style. So like on the Joni, you said the Inspire had 286 and the Rialto had 22 more on top of that. So whatever that number is times 11. Okay, I would encourage you to do that. But on top of that, Lowrey gave more setups at your fingertips. So on the Fanfare, over to the right of your setups, oh wait, I stand corrected before I go any further. I see an Inspire and a Rialto owner and a Marquis owner. I better make sure I get my facts straight because this is being recorded. So if you have 286 or 304, 8 styles, you have 11 setups for every one of those. But on the Inspire and Rialto, there's a vintage button. So it gives you an additional 11. So that's really 22 times 308. So that's almost 6,000, over 6,000 setups at your fingertips. Now I know what you're thinking. I'll never know how to use it. It doesn't matter. The screen here, if you ever see me reaching over to my left here, there's a button I push and the screen shows up and it tells me what 1 through 11 have all the time. So I never have to guess. All right. So for your Rialto, Marquis, Inspire, you have the style set up in the vintage, giving you 22 setups for every rhythm style, and they're all great for the top and the bottom. And then you have what's called category setups. I can't play them all, we'd be here forever, but there's a lot of great ones. And when you, starting on the Fanfare, which is really cool, they give you 4 categories called symphonic, jazz, country, and modern. On the Journey, they give you symphonic, jazz, country, modern, and I think there's a more, and it gives you another category or 2. On the Inspire, when you touch category setups, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. Wait, did I do this right? God, there's so many pages. Let me count and start over. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 pages in the Rialto, you get 4. Each one has 8. So 8 times 4 is 32. 32 categories. And I'll just name a few. And here's what that means. So right now I'm looking at a group that says big band. So if I activate it, I'll get 11 great big band sounds for the upper and the lower. Broadway, I get 11 great Broadway category sounds. Shows, they have a category here. Someone changed my view, made me look funny. I don't want to look at that close to me. There we go. Then there's a category called, this is for the drinkers out there, it's called Lush Sounds. That's for us drinkers. No, luscious sounds. Crescendo organ, UK theater, all these, and then what do we got here? Oh, I have to play a little bit of these love songs. Joni's here, and I know she loves this category, so, and she might kick me off since she's the host. So I better play those. But there's bells, and there's pop organ, and there's all sorts of great categories. So I'll finish up with a couple of songs. One, I'll feature this category called Love Songs. And what's really great is I'll just show these without a rhythm, just so you can hear them individually. It starts off with what's called love vocals. We have one called a ballad flute. You might even hear this real pretty alto sax in there, and these strings. These are just really gorgeous sounds. Here we go. One strings orchestra here. Back to our love vocals. So explore your categories, folks. Explore your categories. There's just tons of them in there. And of course, I thought I'd have a little fun finishing off with some great, another great style here that I love. Well, I love that one. I love that one. I've got to pick one. I just cannot do them all. All right. How about, yeah, this will work. Usually this is an opening song, but I'll use it as a closing number, okay? Because this was actually introduced on the marquee, Owen. And the style is called cab array, okay? Now I'm gonna have a little fun here because I'm gonna use a couple features for this. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some of the setups, obviously, but I'm gonna use the fake it button. But I'm gonna use it in the middle of the song, but I'm also gonna use it in another place, all right? I'm gonna use it at the beginning as well. And check this out. Now, that I learned this actually from one of the Lowrey artists, and some of you may know the name Paul Schaub. I actually learned this from him a long time ago. What a lot of people do when they play, they use the fake it. They use it in the middle of the song. He actually opened up using the fake it button. And the trick to this is whatever chord you're going to start with, make sure that chord is showing up on the screen first. So in other words, I'm going to play an F chord because that's the way I play the song. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. And then I'll put on my introduction. Now it's set. So in the window, it says F was the last chord that was played. Okay. Now I'm going to activate the fake it feature. Okay. And I'm going to have a clarinet on the top here. All right. But before I put on the introduction, before I play the song, I'm going to have the fake it activated without a rhythm. In this case, the clarinet. So the clarinet's going to start off and kind of do his own little diddling around. It's going to be this little solo before we get started. It's really cool. It's a great way to start off a song, especially if you're doing something jazzy, swingy, you know, bluesy. And have the clarinet start off first. The trick is just make sure the chord is in the chord that you want it to be, the way you're going to play the song. So right now it says F chord, so I'm all set there. All I have to do is activate the fake it button. However, there's something a little bit different here. Oh wait, I want you to see this. Remember earlier I held the fake it button down. And I forgot, I didn't really have to, that's even kind of hard work sitting there holding it. For you Rialto owners, all you have to do is hit 2 black buttons. Yes, Owen, I know, on the marquee as well. If you hit 2 black notes, it'll just go off on its own. It's like it's got a mind of its own, but it's all going to hit all the right notes. Let's do a little clarinet solo, folks. Now watch this. You hear that? I'm going to change it to an F7 chord. All right? Now watch how the fake it changes. Oh yeah, you feel like going like this, right? And you can let it go as long as you feel. You know, if you had a crowd of people in your house or something, you get them clapping, get them going. Boy, I could just listen to that all day long. And then you ready? You go like this. You just hit the chord. And here we go. Fun. And then you play your song or songs. drum variation. All right, let's do something a little bit there. Another song. Oh, here we go. Jazz scat. All right, here we go. Fake it. The singers are going to scat around. Here we go. All right, one more time here. Little jazz guitar. Here we go. Ready? Alter style drum variation. Here we go. Here we go. Thank you, everybody. Hold the applause, please. Hold the applause. No, give me the applause. Give me the applause. Oh, no, that's not applause. That's a rooster. The horses and the roosters always love it when I play there. Yeah, somewhere in there. All right. Well, thank you very much for attending today. We hope you learned some stuff about some of these features. If you'd like to learn more, contact your personal assistant. That's what they're there for, and they can tell you more about these features that I talked about that will cater to you. Also, if you don't have any of these features, some of the features, contact your personal assistant immediately because they can help you find them, okay? I had to tell you, one of my inspirations for doing this class today, believe it or not, was the fact that we actually had the right products. I've been dying to get a Rialto forever and a Fanfare at that. I had a Journey set up, but then I got sold. And so these instruments are very rare finds. They're great models, as some of you know, because you have them. But while we had a Rialto, I wanted to be able to do a workshop on it along with the Fanfare. And of course, I don't have the Journey or Inspire represented, but a lot of the things, depending on the model that I was on, should apply to your model. I will tell you this instrument here that I'm playing on has been for the very longest time one of Lowrey's most valuable instruments, because if you heard me today, I caught myself picking on Owen a little bit. Is that okay, Owen? I know Owen, so it's because this is being recorded and it's going to be on YouTube, and I want to make sure when people watch this, they know I'm not just picking on Owen. You know, so, but anyway, I've referred to his marquee a lot. The reason why this instrument was such an amazing product for Lowrey when it was introduced was they took a lot of the great features, some of the best features from the marquee and styles and what have you, and they incorporated it into the Rialto, and it wasn't in the size categories, the larger ones. So for most people, it was much smaller, and it fit better in their home. And that's why when we get one of these, we try to do something as fast as we can because they're such an amazing instrument and they don't last very long. I know Joni had one in her store a week ago, and it came in, and on the same day it got sold and then delivered 2 days later. I mean, it's just that amazing. So I think there's one floating around in Florida right now, and obviously there's one in Arizona. If anybody has an interest, if you already have a Rialto, there's nothing wrong with getting two. Get one for your other room. If you have a marquee, it's always good to have a Rialto in the other spare room, so you don't have to walk across the house. But if you have a Fanfare or Journey and Inspire, it's an amazing step up instrument. I can't show you everything on today's Zoom session. Contact your personal assistant for more details, and we have some really fabulous opportunities. So with that said, I'm going to echo what I said earlier. If you have any questions, contact your personal assistants, because they know all of these features that I showed you today. So with that said, stay safe, stay away from COVID,
Thank you.
keep playing music, and take care, everyone.